Hey guys, welcome back to Clownfish TV. This is Neon. I am here with Geeky Sparkles.
Hello.
And so it's a bit of a slow news day.
There's a lot going on, just not with what we talk about.
Right, but there isn't. We're going to talk about the inauguration. We're going to talk about some celebrity reactions to the inauguration, and we're going to talk mainly about Hollywood. And they're talking about with Trump walking back DEI, and he's very loudly walking back DEI, that it's a masks off moment for media leaders, because now they're just going to be the bigots they all pretended they weren't.
I think they were just afraid to say no because they knew they would be paraded out there and everything else. And they knew things were bad ideas, but they didn't want to not go along with it. And now they have the power to not go along with it. And they're like, oh, thank God, And I mean, right or wrong, I think that's what's going on.
Yeah, I agree with that. I think that it was just in the zeitgeist, right? It was just like everybody had to do the DEI thing. Everybody had to be woke. Everybody had to listen to their 22-year-old marketing managers who told them they had to post the right number of black squares. They had to hire the right people. And what happened was everything collapsed. I mean, in the entertainment space, like everything collapsed. They stopped focusing on making money and chasing all this. And really, one of the big indicators I think has been all the layoffs lately. You look at who's getting fired and you look at what's getting canceled, and it is a lot of the quote unquote woke stuff and, the DEI hires. And so we're going to talk about this. Before we get into it any further, please subscribe for more pop culture news, views, and rants, guys. You'll get a woohoo if you do.
Woohoo.
Trying to fix the mic setup today. I have to address this because we had 3 or 4 videos yesterday where people are like, what is up with your mic? And the short answer is we use USB mics. They're very good mics, but we had 2 of them hooked up to one computer. And so now we each have our own little recording space and we're in separate rooms.
It updated and messed it up.
It messed everything up. Yeah, there was a firmware update, and I didn't catch it till after we recorded all the videos. And it was like, oh my God, everything sounds robotic. And here it was because we had 2 mics with the firmware update. So that's what happened.
That's why we're not robots. We're not AI.
I am. Speak for yourself. But no, it's so weird because I asked my son. He's like, yeah, I don't think anybody's gonna notice. I'm like, oh no, trust me, people notice. I will hear about it. And sure enough, you guys within like 30 seconds, like, what's up with the echo? I'm like, oh, okay. So we fixed it, but I had to kick Geeky out of the room to do it. So
yeah, no longer can look at me. So
I hope you're happy. Guys.
He's kidding.
Anyway, let's.
I know I am. No, I'm kidding.
I can still see you. I can see you on camera. Let's talk about this. This is coming. Well, actually, let's look at some of the headlines first. Let's do that first. We're kind of losing track here. Already, Rolling Stone within minutes of Trump being sworn in, convicted felon sworn in as president. So we got that.
I'm going to say something about that real quick, though. It's always funny to me they keep running with this. And I'm not saying I'm not arguing the validity of what they're saying. What I'm saying is they always keep running with this as if it's some kind of own. But in the meantime, the sides they want to support, they have a lot of felons too. They just don't get convicted. And especially when you're preemptively pardoned, when you supposedly didn't do anything wrong, but you get a pardon anyway.
Was it like 8,000 pardons or something?
I'm like, you could, I'm sure there's a lot of people that are also, or probably did a lot worse, but they get away with it and they don't get convicted. But that doesn't mean that they're not felons too.
Right. Yeah. So that's, this is going to be really interesting. Then, of course, we had the whole thing. I'm not going to go into a whole lot of detail on that, but Elon Musk, they're saying he was giving a Nazi salute. So they're all running with that.
What he was doing with that one. I'm like, dude, what are you doing?
I would have kept your arms to your side, dude, but whatever. Mark Hamill, not taking it well. He said he's going to be sitting out. He's not going to acknowledge the inauguration. He's not going to acknowledge the inauguration of a president that was voted into office.
That he didn't like. So, but if other people did that, he'd be like, you're an election denier.
Exactly. And he's not going to social media because he can't take it. And the sentiment
is so funny because he was like roasting everyone before the election. Like, you're going to lose and we're going to win and neener, cry harder. And then they lost. And now he's like, I can't handle it. I have to hide for 5 days.
I know, right?
To me. Well, there we go, on Blue Sky.
This is on Blue Sky. Blue Sky is partying like it's 2017. It's so weird because you go out to X, and X couldn't be any more different than it was in 2017. And actually, most people are kind of like, even if they're not happy about it, they're just like, whatever, but blue sky, it's the end of the world over there. So whatever. Anyway, Vulture. Let's talk about Hollywood. This was this morning. Hollywood is bracing for a masks off Trump era. There's more fear in the executive suites now than there ever has been.
Well, maybe you should have doubled down on stupidity. And I don't understand why it took this to fix it, because your box office returns weren't good. Your shows aren't doing well. Like, you should have wanted to fix it anyway.
Yeah. They said they think that Hollywood is going to become more self-centering, but some people like David Zaslav are already partying. They're happy that Trump is coming back. Mm-hmm. They said they think Trump's going to go after Bob Iger.
Well, someone was saying they think Bob Iger should be the new governor of California. And I was like, why the hell would you let Bob Iger be the governor of California? Like, this person also supported the current governor of California. But I'm like, dude got to run Disney. He ran it into the ground because of his own ego and everything else. I'm like, why the hell would you put him as a governor of California? I'm like, that's just stupid.
This is interesting. This is somebody from the C-suite. Supposedly, says a consultant with a privileged view of the executive C-suite. Trump's going to come after Iger, whatever he can do to fuck with him in Disney based on the stuff with DeSantis in Florida.
Probably. I mean, look, I don't think you should be messed with people if they didn't deserve to be messed with, But yeah, I think that if you're just doing that, then you're just as bad as what you claim everybody did to you. But Iger's just a complete. He's just a lost cause. I wouldn't even waste your time on him, honestly. If I were Trump, but
yeah, he's not going to be there very much longer.
He should, and do not vote for him for governor. He completely destroyed Disney.
This is interesting though. They said Hollywood doesn't matter as much as it thinks it matters.
True.
This is a talent manager with A-list clients. You had the biggest stars in the world support Kamala Harris. She couldn't have drawn more power. Yeah, she could. She did. In some cases, she did. Was it like 10 grand or something or 10 million or something for Beyonce? Or like 10 grand
it was more than 10 grand. I think she paid for Oprah too.
Oh my God. Yeah. It said, and then Snoop. There's Snoop. Performing for Trump, but they said, yeah, it didn't move the needle at all. What does that tell you? It's unsettling because the people and things you hold in high esteem don't drive the culture. As much as I love movies, they aren't the driver anymore.
No, people. Okay, I'm gonna tell you right now, Hollywood is up their own ass, and people hate them. They are out of touch. They sit there on their high horse and tell everybody else, like Sharon Stone making the comments she made about people like they're uneducated and they're stupid, because they didn't vote the way she wanted, and that behavior. And that narcissistic, entitled behavior, acting like middle America's dumb and everything else, did not help. And I was even listening to the news and they were saying it wasn't so much people loved Trump. It was they wanted to vote for him because he wasn't them.
Yeah.
And that's, I think it comes down to, and Hollywood is out of touch. Their movies and box office takes, except for the ones that are really popular and they actually meet people where they are, don't do well. Why the hell would you think that everybody wants more of you?
Yeah, I mean, that's just it. They were so arrogant. They thought that, that's what I never understood about Harris anyway, was like she's clearly not performing with the blue collar demographic. So yeah, let's throw some more celebrities. I know, it doesn't make any sense. People hate it.
You
know what I'm saying?
Like award shows, I mean, they were going down for a long time in viewership. They loved it when Ricky Gervais roasted the hell out of all the, celebrities. Because they don't feel like people, like the celebrities have any clue. Now, I think they might be a little more kindred to them now because they're losing their houses too. And then maybe they're going to be, be like, oh, this is what it's like. And I don't want to see that happen to people. I'm not saying that's a good thing. I'm just saying that maybe for some of these people, it's like the kick in the pants they need to realize that they are not so much better than everybody else. And maybe their behavior is part of the problem.
They said there was preemptive exhaustion in Hollywood. They said that Hollywood is plagued by a sense of doom because of the financial anxiety and the pervasive woke is broke mindset that will affect what we see on our screens.
Yeah, but here's the thing people understand too. Wokeism and actual fair organic diversity inclusion are not the same thing. Like wokeism is the extreme versions, and that's what people are mad about. And sadly, the takeaway is going to be people don't want to see anybody but white straight men. And that's not what they're saying. What they're saying is you shove in DEI shit at every turn. And you shove in all this stuff, and you're like not allowed to have any entertainment unless there's crap shoved into it. And you know what a bad person you are. And then the attack on the fans if you don't agree. That's what the woke go broke is the problem. It's not any diversity, because I see people, overusing it to the fact that, oh, they made this character black, it's woke. But that doesn't mean that. It doesn't. That there's a difference, and people don't seem to understand there's a difference.
They said that 2 of the movies in the last Star Wars trilogy underperformed. Several Marvel movies underperformed.
I don't know. The Captain America didn't do great.
Backdropped by a din of fanboy complaints about forced diversity, we've been seeing the departure of executives at the studios that have been hired to promote DEI in film and TV. Hollywood had swung too far left over the past few years, and there was bound to be a reckoning.
Because like you said, the pendulum, it always swings back. Unfortunately, it's going to swing back probably hard the other way before it goes back to center, but we need it to go back to center.
They're talking about how Twisters did really well, and that they said what they're afraid of, and this is exactly what they're afraid of. They're afraid of being irrelevant, because they said that now Hollywood is going to reflect culture rather than drive culture, and they're used to driving culture. But at the beginning, Hollywood reflected culture.
But no one asked them to drive culture. No one asked them to. Like, they took it upon themselves. The arrogance, the pure, like, well, I'm a celebrity, so my opinion matters more than yours. The arrogance is just mind-blowing.
Yeah, they said several studios executives said basically the same thing. They said there isn't a strong desire for rhetorical storytelling in Hollywood. In certain corners of the entertainment world, there's suddenly this opportunity for conservative-minded viewers to see a bit of their world represented. But I don't know if it's necessarily going to be a flip to the other side. I don't know if it's going to. I think we need to have general entertainment for a general audience.
You don't have to shove identity politics into everything. You don't have to shove, agenda into everything. You can legitimately have films and shows that were done well with organic diversity that are fun, entertaining stories. And sometimes they have a message, but they're done well. They did it for years.
Yeah.
Years we had that. We talked about it at length many times.
And some of the most beloved movies of all time were, for their time, pretty progressive. It's just like everything has gotten so ham-fisted. And I think honestly, I think social media plays a part into it, because before we didn't know what the directors were thinking. We didn't know what Mark Hamill thought. Now you've got direct access to these people, and you're like, wow, they really don't like me, and people like me, and they're going to tell anybody in their echo chamber, you really are in the minority, right? Like, you're not like, you might be in the super majority in Hollywood, but you go outside of Hollywood, you go outside of California, you go outside New York City, and you start to realize just how small you really are. You look at that election map and you realize how small of a percentage you really are. I
would argue it's because they're in their echo chamber, but aren't they supposed to be so much more well-traveled and so much more educated than us riffraff? Shouldn't they already know what people think outside of their bubble? But they don't.
They're talking about Zegler. They're talking about Captain America 4. And they're like, Hollywood's going to listen. They're going to have to listen. They said with film production down post-strike, post-pandemic Hollywood is estimated to be down as much as 40%, and widespread anxiety over dwindling revenue and audience interest. Many industry mockers remain more concerned with surviving another quarter than thriving under Trump too. We're just doing triage on the patients that are coming off the battlefield.
But you should. You injured them to begin with. But they injured those patients to begin with. You're the ones that shot them, and now you're like, oh, we have to triage this one. Well, you did it.
You basically sent them into like cultural Vietnam, where there's like no clear winner and people are just getting killed.
It's like that meme where he turns around and shoots the person in the chair and says, look what you did. It's like
Exactly. But they said what's going to happen, and this guy's been doing this for 26 years, this is another executive. What's going to happen is they're not going to greenlight anything that is too daring anytime soon. So we're probably, unfortunately, going to see a lot of sequels, a lot of movies that play it safe.
We already were. The reason that those didn't work was because they changed everything about them. Like, if you have something that everybody loves, changing everything about it to appeal to this audience that doesn't exist isn't going to make people like it anymore. But then if people complained about it, they were bigots. And that's the problem. And the thing is, instead, you need to take chances on new things, on exciting things. And by that, I mean things that the audience will find exciting, not things that you and your friends will find exciting because there's 50%, this ratio, and there's, 75% that ratio, because, you can cast it however you want as long as it's organic and it's a fun and exciting product. It's really not that hard.
but they don't know how to do that anymore.
No, and no one trusts them anymore.
No. And that's just it. Like, nobody's going to trust them because they could say, hey, we've got this great idea for a movie that we think is going to have mass appeal. It's a new franchise, it's new IP, it's a new thing. And it's going to cost, $150, $200 million. And the studio might be like, nah, we can't take a chance on that. Or, nah, because the audiences might not like it. Or I think they're more, I guess the one good thing, if there is a good thing to come out of the last couple of years, is that I think it put the fear of the audience and the consumer back into Hollywood. Because for the longest time, that the attitude at the beginning of the article shows exactly what they think. We're the tastemakers. We will make whatever we want to. You will listen to us. You will follow us. And the consumers are like, no, we don't have to. We've got lots of other options. We can watch lots of things. We don't have to watch you. We don't have to support you. We don't have to bankroll you. You work for us, dance monkey. Mm-hmm. Basically,
you want your money, then you give people what they want.
Right.
That's just, it really isn't rocket science. And I think people are just over Hollywood because these actors just really thought they were so much more important than they were. And they're learning that no one cares. Just take your opinions and stick them up your ass. We don't want them.
So we're going to end with that, I think. We're going to end with that. So thank you very much for watching, guys. Please subscribe. We'll talk later.
Bye.